Hello, welcome to Everyday Woman here on KTN Home. I am Eustace Segate. Today's guest is a baker. Interestingly, she studied pharmacy but now pursues baking as a full-time career. She has baked many cakes for the who's and who's in Kenya, including former Prime Minister's 77th birthday cake and most recently, Akothe's grand royal wedding. Well, if you ever have a conversation with her, she will probably tell you that life is what you bake off. And if you have enough butter, just anything would be good. I have the pleasure of meeting the founder and CEO of Tunu Bakeries. Now, come with me, let's have a conversation with her. Hi.
Hi, Eusta. How are you?
I am fine, thank you.
Yes.
It smells so good in here already, and I can imagine what you do with the magic hands.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Yes.
Well, tell us your name, what you do on a daily, and what you're proud of up to this moment.
My name is Eve Gaia. I am an everyday woman who enjoys hustling, grinding, making money, of course. And I am an entrepreneur. I am the CEO and founder of Tunu Bakeries. I am a pharmaceutical technologist by profession. I am a mother of two. I am a wife. I am a sister. I am an auntie.
So many titles, but I mean, we are here for the energy. Now, I want to know, how then did you move from pharmaceutical industry to baking? Because those are kind of two worlds apart.
Yeah, Those are two worlds apart, but if you look at it keenly, when it comes to baking and pharmaceutical world, it's almost the same thing. It's more of mixing ingredients, because part of baking is science, and pharmaceutical industry, of course, is science. Other than that, I would say that the pharmaceutical industry is my career. It's my passion also, something that I went after. And the baking side is more of my passion. And
as well.
And of course now as a baker I had to go full blast as an entrepreneur.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, growing up, were you exposed to baking and matters cooking?
Growing up I was, yes, exposed to cooking. Like I said, I'm a sister. I am the firstborn in our family. So you all know in an African setup, as a firstborn, automatically you are the chef of the family. So I guess that's when I realized that I love cooking, experimenting new ingredients and new recipes in the kitchen, which has now grown into this.
I like it. Talking of family, how was it like growing up, and where did you grow up?
I was born and raised in Mombasa.
Right.
And of course with the Mombasa culture, you know, cooking is part and parcel of them. So I would say that also played a major role in shaping me, influencing me. And I would also say that growing up in Mombasa, not just as a resident in Mombasa, but also as a firstborn in a family of 6, I think it was my joy to cook for my family, and just seeing the joy in their faces and happiness in their faces was good. In a family of 6 in an African setup, you know, is a bit tough,
Yes.
Yeah, but it was so much fun growing up. Yeah.
All right. So now, like, did you have women around you that you would look up to when it comes to, you know, matters career, morals, and you know, someone that you would admire and wish that I want to become like her or more?
Growing up, I would say it's a character that I have that not so many people know. I am an introvert in a way.
Really?
Yes. So I would say that because of my introvert self, I found more pleasure doing my own things. I found more pleasure experimenting things in my own environment. I would not say I gathered more from neighbors or from friends. Most of it was self-taught in the kitchen.
At what point then did you realize that I want to shift from this career to now baking and make it like a full-time job?
Going full swing as a baker, as an entrepreneur, was not something I planned for. First and foremost, I never ever imagined that I would go into the food industry. As a pharmaceutical technologist, of course, you think you have your entire future mapped out. You know that maybe you'll serve in the hospital, then after some time you'll probably open your own place, like a chemist or run a clinic, something of the sort. But I would say, since I loved cooking, I got so many compliments from my friends. And it's the people around me that built the confidence in me, that pushed me to this level. Because when I started baking, most of my friends would tell me that cake was really good, maybe you should start pricing, maybe you should start charging. And before I knew it, here we are.
Now, looking at it, you could share with us some of the things that you've learned through, baking and what you're doing that you could share with other women out there, things that have spoken to you as a woman.
I'll tackle it from two angles. Yeah. Number one, as a woman, my main agenda was to cook for my family after experiencing several disappointments from the market. And before I knew it, it turned into a business. I am passionate about business, in as much as I didn't do business in school, but I'm passionate about business. I have a good track record of being a Shylock and such like things. Pushing it into a business, something that can generate money, was a bit easy. Yeah. The challenge that came in was now managing a business, because I had never managed a business before. I didn't have any background in business studies. So it's more of like learning as you go. And of course, it takes your spirit, because I always tell myself, you say that the highway or the highway. Yes.
Well, so then what are some of the lessons you've learned through this journey of baking and shifting careers and working around your passion to achieve?
Some of the things that I've learned through this journey is, number one, as an entrepreneur, self-discipline is very important. That includes discipline to show up at your place of work, discipline to manage your finances, discipline to improve yourself. Never settle. Don't just settle in your comfort zone. Push yourself to be better than yesterday. I think that's what has really kept me going, because every day when I wake up, I ask myself, what can I do today that's better than yesterday? And number two, you must have self-confidence. You must be confident enough that whatever you're doing is right and you're on the right track. Otherwise, if you have self-doubt, you'll not be able to push it to the next level. And then, of course, you need to learn how to diversify. Now, this is more business related, because the economy keeps shifting, things keep changing. You need to stay abreast with new things that come into the market. You need to familiarize yourself with new tactics that are in the market. Yeah. So yeah, you have to keep yourself educated at every given level of your business. Yes.
Absolutely. What a good way to actually end the first segment of this show. As she said, be tactical in your business. Now, we are taking a short commercial break. We will be back with much more. Hi, welcome back from the break. Thank you so much for keeping it Everyday Woman here on KTN Home with me, Eustace Segate. Now, our guest today, of course, we've been engaging the founder and owner of Tunu Bakeries. So, Eve, what's your policy of employment?
I would say my biggest policy as an employer is number one, recruiting someone who loves the job, who is willing to learn, because as you know, the policies we have as Tunu Bakeries might not be the same policies that another employer has. So what we do majorly is employ those who are interested in the career, those who are willing to learn, those who are willing to grow. We nurture them and we grow together. Our rules that govern us may not be the same rules that govern a different bakery. So as a person, as an employer, I prefer growing with someone as opposed to employing someone who is already fully equipped.
Well, could you also say through that you have managed to know what your purpose in life or in this industry is as a woman?
As a woman and as an employer, I would say, like I mentioned earlier, I'm growing with the business. Yeah. This is a path that I chose. It just landed on me. It's not something that I had premeditated. My biggest drive is to not just deliver cakes, but also to nurture the next generation. I find pleasure in nurturing children. We have holiday classes that run during the holidays to keep the kids busy. And I find so much joy when I see 2-3 kids step out of Tunu Bakeries fully equipped to do small baking at home.
But why kids?
I would say kids because number one, as you know, we have this notion that maybe being a baker is not a career, unless you're a lawyer or a doctor, like the way it's been stipulated by the society, that it's not a career that you can actually rely on, that you can actually build and grow, and can put bread and butter on your table. I would say nurturing babies is much more easier than an adult.
Well, over time we've seen that you've baked very, very many cakes, you know, including for people that we consider on the top charts here in Kenya. How is it for you, and how does that impact your business?
I would say first and foremost, Tunu is we are almost clocking 5 years in the industry. I would say our growth is number one by the grace of God, and number two, I would say it's aggressive marketing, because unless you market your business, you cannot really grow as an entrepreneur, as a business person. So I would say that my biggest push is marketing, number one, to get to that level, and consistency is also very important. You have to make sure that whatever you're serving today is the same product that you're going to serve tomorrow and even the days after.
And of course that's very important for you to penetrate through the market and what have you. But then one would wonder, how then do you keep your business afloat, you know, despite so many bakeries around, despite you nurturing people that of course would eventually open their businesses? How do you keep yourself afloat and relevant in the markets?
Generally, as an entrepreneur, first and foremost, you have to make sure that each and every day you have something new that you're offering. You cannot sit on your comfort zone. Number two, discipline. Discipline to understand that you need to grow. Discipline to understand that you need to push for that brand to the next level. I think those are some of the things that have kept us afloat. And other than that, you also need to learn the seasons. For instance, the other day we had Corona. So when you're in that period or that season that you've been worst hit, what can you do to stay afloat? You have to come up with new products that are going to sell in that season. You have to learn the market, what's happening at that particular period, and come up with a product that is going to not just sell but also push itself in the market.
What kind of products are we talking about? Maybe you could highlight to us, you know, some of the varieties of cookies, cakes that you serve here.
So I'd say, for instance, if we take the Corona period as a case study, one thing for sure is people are not allowed to overmingle. So automatically, those who love throwing parties, the numbers had come down. So I knew that my clients who normally order like 3 kgs of cake, 4 kgs of cake because they love partying, their kgs had already come down to maybe 1 kg or 2 kgs. But then you understand that during that period, most people were staying indoors. So what do they need? They need snacks. They need bitings for the kids. You know, kids get hungry every time. So we pushed more of our biting products like cookies, like tea scones, like buns, like donuts, as opposed to cakes. Because at that particular period, cakes were not selling that much, but bitings were moving. So understanding the season that you're in helps you read the market, helps you understand what sells most at that time, and helps you push for that specific product. So if you look overall at our social media platforms, during that period we were really pushing for bitings as opposed to cakes.
Also would like to know, how is it working with the who's and who's? How has it impacted you as a woman? How has it impacted your business and the people that you work with?
As an entrepreneur, as a career woman, I would say that working for the who's and who's has given me an exposure to a different level that I did not experience in my other career. So it has given me an exposure to dealing with celebrity or people at the high end. It has also impacted my business in terms of marketing, in that when you work with a celebrity, the product is more likely to move more in the market in terms of marketing. It has also taught me to be consistent, because again, you know that working with a specific group of people, you also need to be consistent with your delivery, timely.
Yeah.
You also learn to plan yourself, because doing a 1 kg cake for a home-based party is not the same as doing maybe like 20, 30, 40 kgs cake for a multitude of 1,500, 2,000 people. Yes. So it has taught me to stretch myself. It has also taught me about my limits, what we can accommodate, what we can manage.
All right. Talking about stretching yourself then, how do you balance between being a wife, being a sibling, being a career woman, and of course just enjoying life in general?
I would say being a career woman, being a mother, being a wife, being a sibling, a sister, and auntie, it has taught me to manage my time well. I used to hear my teacher say that time is money.
Yeah.
Now that I'm an adult running a business with every other thing around me that I also need to manage, it has taught me to take my time very seriously. It has taught me to pre-plan meetings. It has taught me to see how I can manage my career at the same time, be a mother at the same time, and at the same time be a wife, of course, and be a sister.
Also, would like to know, what are some of the challenges you've experienced in this industry, and how do you tackle?
I'd say, number one, not really in a negative way, but it is a challenge. If you're going into a business that you don't have a background in, it's not easy. It's not as easy as someone who already has a rough idea of what's going on in the business. This was not my first career, so I had to learn in the process. I had to equip myself with knowledge. That means you have to go to different levels of learning. You have to learn through YouTube, you have to learn through Zoom. I would say another challenge is pressure-oriented growth. In the sense that you step into the market, you have a product that's selling, you market it well, and now you have that pressure to deliver. So that's also inclined towards finances and everything. So I've learned to partner with financial institutions to grow my business. I've had to attend mostly financial classes that teach you, especially these short courses that teach you how to manage your finances. I've also had to go through mentorship programs so that I understand my business well, not just as a product that I'm selling, I'm also selling services. So you need to understand that package. You need to understand that you're not just selling a product, you're also selling a service. Remember, you are also not just selling a product that's already made, you are a producer. So it's all that wrapped up in one. I'd say doing more of research is really good to manage some of those challenges.
Well, now that you know what you know through the workshops, the trainings and everything else, what's the one thing that you wish you knew or you had a full understanding before you got yourself into this space?
One thing I wish I knew, and not just wish that I knew, one thing that I wish I did or I had the privilege of engaging in, and I must say that I'm really pleased that currently we have the CBC curricula in school, because if I had known where my strength lies, I would have done this long time ago. Number one, I never concentrated in any business related studies because clearly my career path is different. And going into this, I was 100% green. So one thing I would even encourage parents out there, try to understand what your child is interested in, their strong points, then nurture that. When you nurture that, in case in future they choose to go that direction, at least they have a rough knowledge of what's going on in that industry. My biggest challenge was stepping into an industry that I had no background knowledge in. I must say that I thank God that it's been quite a journey, yes. But if I had prior knowledge, prior idea of what's going on in that industry, then I would say some of the challenges would be avoidable.
Wow, but we can see clearly that now you're at a better place, having a deeper understanding of what you are into. Now, you could also tell us, what are you looking forward to in future? 2 years from now, what are you hoping to achieve?
We always say there is no end to success. because success is one thing that will keep changing. There's no day you'll say that I'm satisfied with the level that I'm in terms of success. So first and foremost, my biggest drive was to build a brand, which of course I'm still doing. My biggest aim is to make Tunu Bakeries a household name, which we're of course still doing through marketing. My biggest goal also is not just to have this branch as a Tunu Bakeries branch, but to have the third and the fourth and the fifth, to a level that it's a business that is running itself on its own, without really having to like carry it like a baby.
Oh, we like it. And of course, we are here for that and much more. Well, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us and for coming to the show.
Karibu sana.
Thank you so much for you at home for tuning into KTN Home and watching Everyday Woman. Stick around next week for yet another interesting episode. Remember, you can check us out on our social media pages at KTN Home across all platforms. We will be excited to engage with you. Until next time, be safe.